Welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Youth Space, and from wherever you are watching us, we are streaming live from the Cooperative Retreat and Conference Center, CRCC, located in the leafy suburbs of Karen, in the middle of Cooperative University of Kenya, along Ushirika Road. And today on the bench, you're having two guests, two youth leaders from different parties with different ideologies. On my left side, we have Mheshimiwa Odhiambo, all the way from Migori, ODM youth leader and an aspiring member of parliament, Suna West constituency. On my right side, we have Wesley Kuria, youth leader from the Service Party, TSP, party leader Mwangi kiunjuri. So you're going to see and hear what they have for us as far as BBI is concerned, the budget 2021-2022, and youths in politics. Join me as we take this through to get to know what these great aspiring leaders got for this great nation. I'll be your host, Ken Babu. But before that, remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Karibuni.
Asante sana.
Usalama eh?
Salama kabisa.
Fiti eh? Kiongozi.
Thank you.
Unacheka sana. 35. 35. So actually recently we had the Ministry of Treasury releasing the budget, that is 2021-2022, and it came at a tune of 3.66 trillion. Historically, this is one of the highest budgets in this nation. Kiongozi, to start with you, what's your personal thoughts about the recently released budget?
Oh, thank you so much, Brother Ken, for giving me the opportunity to discuss 1, 2, 3. Now, if you look at the budget, that is since independence, it's the budget that has been the highest. That was 3.64 trillion, compared to the one that was 2020-2021 budget, that was 2.64 trillion. So the Ministry of Treasury, they much concentrated on education, health and defense. Education, health and defense scored, and the allocations there was too much compared to other ministries. But again, the CS assured Kenyans that because Kenya, to date we have what is called COVID-19 pandemic, and also there was much allocation to COVID-19 and its containment measures. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the health ministry, defense ministry, and education ministry, when they were located with much money, or the allocation was higher than those other ministries, I would say they really their priority was so much on that. And to me, I agree with that, because now when you look at health ministry, this global pandemic that is called coronavirus has really hit hard our country and globally, okay, Kenya and the global space. So the corona pandemic and the government putting much weight on that, it means that the containment measures and giving it a lot of money compared to others, mm-hmm, is good, because now like there was the KEMSA thing, and how they can do 1, 2, 3 to finish this. Uh-huh. I think it will be better, because it will help the government and even the county governments, mm-hmm, to curb the pandemic, because it is something that has really hit hard our country, uh-huh, and it has really hit hard the economy, okay, and it has really hit hard anything, be it business, the SMEs, and anything that is called business. So when they put much weight on that, uh-huh, I think that will be better.
That will be better.
Yes.
Mr. Jeff.
Yes.
We saw the budget released.
Yes.
And on the big four agendas, the total sum that the big four agenda received was a tune of 142.1 billion. Yes. That is the affordable housing receiving 13.9, uh-huh, universal health coverage getting 47, and food and nutrition securing 60. with the manufacturing taking home 20 billion. Mr. Jeff, what's your general thoughts about this recently read budget?
First of all, Ken, I would like to thank you.
Okay.
You will allow me to thank you for inviting us to this platform.
Thank you.
It is a growing channel, and I believe this is what we have been agitating for in terms of youth representation and youth presence in all spheres of society. Now, coming to matters budget. First, I think I will agree to a certain extent with Mheshimiwa here. I will say that yes, there need to be emphasis on what should be prioritized first in terms of what is important. Right now we are facing a global pandemic. We are facing a beat down economy. So the first thing we should be doing is thinking of how to achieve what is in the universal health community termed as herd immunity. Let us vaccinate a lot of people, so the prioritization of funds should head there first. Also, the budget should have reflected an economic stimulus. How do we reinstate the economy to not where it should be, but where it was before we started suffering?
Okay.
Because you have to go to where you are first before you can progress forward. And you see, again on the matters of prioritization, it concerns me when, for example, as you've put it, the allocations, there is discrepancies in the allocations of certain things.
Sure.
For example, Treasury got 182 billion, right? That is more than health and agriculture combined. But I want to focus on mostly agriculture because agriculture supports and contributes a huge chunk to our GDP in this country. It employs 60% of the labor force of this country. So I think the weight of allocation of finances should have reflected as much. And let me give you a few figures. Yeah?
Okay.
The budget in its totality was 3.66 trillion. Yeah. Now, when you look at the allocation that agriculture got, which was 73.9 billion, and you do the percentages of that, that is just a meager 2% of the budget. How do you allocate 2% to such a huge contributor of our economy? You understand? And we are saying that there are no jobs. Yet agriculture on its own employs 60% of the labor force. Also, if you're going to include the allocation of food and nutrition security to the agriculture, because agriculture also contributes to food and nutrition security, you understand? Different allocations but same purpose. If you add the 60 billion, that is 133 billion, still lesser than the treasury allocation, and it translates to 4%. So again, in most of these things, the budget was a tad disappointing because in other allocations that we will mention, for example, the judiciary allocation, which was 17.2 billion, they had a projected proposal of 28 billion. So they were denied 11 billion.
11 billion.
And you see, we have already seen the effects of COVID. We don't have to go to courts to get justice for people. This is the time we should be investing in a digital space within the court realm, so that courts can have access to internet. Courts can have judgments delivered online. But with that, and when you deny the judiciary that allocation, you are cutting the legs of the process of justice. Understand? So I think that and among many things, because we could even mention the youth allocation.
So, Kiongozi, now that the budget that was recently read has come out to be the largest, that is the 3.66 trillion, should we expect to see increase in prices of essential commodities such as basic commodities like milk and bread? Should we expect to see increase?
You see, much weight was put on health and other departments, like basic education and the rest. So, you know, for them to realize this budget and to realize this, so which means the price of basic commodities must shoot for them, because now we are like we saw it in 2021, it was 2.64 trillion, and this one 2021-2022 was 3.64 billion. Now, because they have borrowed and they want to realize this money, so the number of taxation and the price of basic commodities must shoot to the common mwananchi. Like just my brother had said, that they ought to have put much on youth and agriculture, because 70% of Kenyan economy, right? Agriculture.
It's agriculture.
Agriculture contributes a
Contributes
lot,
a lot.
as far as Kenya's economy is concerned.
concerned, yes.
Yes. So if they had allocated a lot of money to this agriculture and some other departments that deals with I could put it like to say agriculture and some other departments that is a bit humanitarian, I think that would be correct.
That would be correct.
But now we expect the prices of basic commodities, bread, milk,
to shoot. Mr. Jeff,
Yes.
how are you going to survive? Currently, the milk 500 ml goes at 60.
Yes.
If it goes up to 100 or 80,
Yes.
how are you going to survive?
First of all, he's correct. He's spot on that. It's going to rise. It's directly proportional because the way the budget has been constructed. I am not an authority on economic matters, but again, I said you do not need to be a scientist to put one and one together.
Okay.
That the prices has been rising. The fuel prices even have been rising. No one's fuel is like an indicator. Once it rises, you know the other basic commodities will rise.
Right.
And you see, when you talk about things like the allocations and how it's going to affect common Mwananchi, I believe Mwananchi has to get prepared for hard times. And it is a such sorry state of affairs because as the prices rise, the person who is there at the production stage, the person who is doing the donkey work, that does not reflect.
Okay.
You understand? So this is rising at such astronomical percentages. Like now you said, as we have been brought up buying milk at 50 shillings. Now if it jumps to 80, you can do the percentages of that, and that is not translating to the people. And that's why I've said, I am very keen on matters agriculture because, as you have said, 70% of the economy, 60% of the labor force, and 10% within that 60% is youthful representation. Youths benefit directly from agribusiness.
From agriculture,
I am a champion of adding people into the youth agribusiness sector, but with these discrepancies of production from the agricultural sector and the allocations, it cannot reflect and satisfy youthful representation.
So, Kiongozi, as a youth leader and an aspiring youth, are we, as youth, is the budget accommodating us as the young generation, from your point of view?
Not really. I'm not an economist, but you don't have to be an economist or have an knowledge of economics to do this. No, it doesn't really favor us as far as youth, as far as youths are concerned. Like now, if you don't give a good budget, or if you don't allocate a good amount of money to the young people, and now in Kenya, the same what I said the other time. In Kenya, 70% of Kenya's population is youthful, right? Yes. So which means if you don't empower young people, you cannot run an economy, or you cannot run an economy successfully whereby young people are not empowered. Right?
Yes.
Just as I said, they gave a lot of money to education. That means empowering young people, because when a young person has a basic education, because the key thing, when a young person has a basic education, because there are villages back at home whereby achieving basic education itself is not easy, right? So the budget should have focused much on empowering the youths. Empowering the youths, young people.
And Ken, if I'm going to respond to that question, on that issue, yes, there is a technical allocation for youth. Let me read you a few figures. Yeah, 4.2 billion to the Kenya Youth Empowerment Opportunities Project, 10.2 billion, 10 billion to NYS, 454 million to Youth Enterprise and Development Fund, 120 million to Women Enterprise Fund, and 62 million to Wesley Fund. Right? You can see that even in the representation, and let me quote the president verbatim. He said that the youthful population is a ticking time bomb if their issues of unemployment are not addressed.
Sure.
We can start there. You understand?
Yeah.
And you see, when they talk about stimulus program, they are very much leaning on the issue of kazi mtaani. Let me tell you, and the direct figure quoting is around 100,000 jobs.
0732866429.
100,000 people that have been employed by by the Kazi Mtaani initiative. And let me tell you, as much as that is true, you have to recognize that these jobs are in the informal sector. What happens when we are in a post-COVID-19 scenario? What is going to happen to that populace of 100,000 people who have gotten jobs from this stimulus program? Do they now become jobless again?
So having listened to you,
yes,
what's your major worry?
My worry one is that the priorities are wrong with the budget. It does not reflect the urgency that the president put on issues of youth. He said we are a ticking time bomb. He said 70% of us, the electorate they keep talking about, is us, the youth. And let me tell you something, Ken. This is something I have consistently held. It's a personal view, but this is something that I think all youth leaders should take up to them. We are seeing leaders coalescing with the different alignments that they want to join with respect to 2022. And you're seeing that the major rallying call from some of these leaders is that we should, in spite of our political difference, we should consolidate our interests.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
So that whichever political alignment you fall under, there is representation of your people. And that is a call that I need to call to all the youth members. I have been consistently championing for guaranteed minimum returns for the youth, regardless of the fact. For example, me, I come from the service party. I would like to see a situation where him from ODM, from ANC, we hold a conglomeration of leaders and we agree this is what we expect for the youth. So that
a conglomeration of youth leaders.
Youth leaders, yes. So that if he lands in government, and I wish you well in your aspirations for being MP or sooner, if he happens to land that job, our interests are in
represented.
If I happen to be in government, our interests are in government. Ndio isikuwe ati tunagawanyishwa na vitu ndogo ndogo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kiongozi, you've heard him talk. What's your worries?
My worries, as I've heard him talk about the allocation of Uwezo Fund. But you see now, to date, the government focuses much on kazi mtaani. But you see now, when you focus much on kazi mtaani, you don't have to be skilled to do the works that are associated with kazi mtaani.
Exactly.
Now, for these young people who are graduates, right?
Yes.
Some of them cannot do that job.
Sure.
I've heard the president or the deputy president talked about after kazi mtaani, they will also come up with another of the same kind, so that young people are empowered. But you see, if young people, if you want to use kazi mtaani to empower young people, it will not work well, because is this kazi mtaani, is it sustainable? Because young people need something that is sustainable. If kazi mtaani runs for about 5 to 6 months, so when everything ends, so will the young people go back to what they used to do and all that? So young people need jobs, young people need empowerment that is sustainable.
So what can you tell the government to do for the youths to get empowered? Should the government, because as we're talking right now, job opportunities are not there. People are graduating, they're not securing any jobs.
Yes.
Should the government provide a conducive environment for investments, business and stuff, or should they start looking for avenues to create?
First of all, the government should come up with the policies that favors young people. Like in BBI, there is they said that they will give 7 years tax free for graduates, for university students who graduate, such that when you have that help, you will, when you applied for help, you will take 7 years before you pay it. So the government should come up with policies that make sure that young people are not heavily taxed. If a young person opens a business, they should not be heavily taxed, because now if you open a kinyozi, like the deputy president puts it, and they are hustlers. If you open a kinyozi, if you open a boutique shop, the county government should not tax you more, right? Because to date there are no jobs in Kenya. But when a young person struggles to open a business, because when you open a business that is sustainable, it means at the end of the day you have something to put on the table.
Yeah, sure.
At the end of the day you can feed your family.
Exactly.
At the end of the day you can dress well, because we young people, we love good things.
Yeah, sure.
But now a situation whereby a young person is left and is just roaming around without something to do, that young person can turn to be very dangerous to the government. Because if a young person is not empowered, a young person has nothing to do, so they are idle around. That young person is,
it becomes a danger to the country.
To the country.
I think as we wrap up this budget position, I think my message to the government is, as you said, policy. I have been consistently insistent on policy.
Policy making.
You see, the government is not in the business of employing
Policy making or implementations.
both policy making
and
implementation and representation of the youth within those policy making positions.
Okay.
Those are part of the guaranteed minimum. Utasikia tu with time we will hear. But let me
That,
conclude this.
before you proceed, you've said policy making, implementations, and representations.
Representation hapo ndani.
The BBI proposes a formation of youth commission, and it is not telling us who and who will be on those commissions. Shed more light.
Yes, the BBI, when comes with a youth commission, this is a commission that is created to specifically deal with challenges facing young people. And we also expect that those who will be occupying, or the office bearers of that youth commission, will be young people. And as Constitution says that a young person is from 35 and below
to 18.
So when we see people employed, like now we have Roy Sasaka, right? Is the CEO of National Youth Council. So we expect vibrant and young people who can articulate issues affecting young people to be in those positions, because when BBI passes and such positions are created, it means that they will look into challenges facing young people. They will look into how to deal with these challenges facing young people. And what are these challenges? Unemployment, how young people can be empowered economically, because young people can there are a number of people who are not learned, but they can be empowered in business. There are people who are graduates, they can be empowered on how to get jobs.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
So viewers from home, we are saying that these two great men are saying that the government should ensure and work out the policy making, policy implementation, and full representation of the youths in those various sectors. Mr. Jeff,
yes.
As we're talking right now, the BBI was recently declared unconstitutional by the 5-judge bench High Court.
What are my thoughts?
What can you say about that?
First, I will briefly just touch on the Youth Commission. Just briefly. You see, the Youth Commission, you've put it so correctly. It's supposed to address youth affairs and youth issues. But then again, there are mirror bodies that currently do that.
Okay.
Can we assess their performance? Can we assess whether we are doing rebranding or creating a new thing? You understand?
Sure.
There's the National Youth Council, there's the Youth Senate, ziko mingi. You understand? Now we should first of all focus on that. And the thing about BBI and that Youth Commission, it does not guarantee that the head of that commission is going to be a youth. And now moving to the unconstitutionalism or constitutionalism of the BBI, I am also a lawyer in training. And it is a peculiar situation when you see such a matter of high volatility and such public interest be sat to be decided by 5 judges from different backgrounds, from different educational settings, and even geographical setting, if you want to consider that, agreeing unanimously on the unconstitutionalism of something. That, first of all, should bring a glaring light on the issue itself. It is so hard to not have one dissenting voice. Somebody who has seen a perspective that is different. And in my opinion, yes, it was declared unconstitutional. Let me tell you something about the BBI. I don't think inherently it is a bad document. I support some things there. But the BBI, I'll give you a metaphor. BBI is like football. Okay. You understand? Yep. The goal of football is to score a goal.
Score goals.
You understand?
Yeah.
But you cannot run the ball out of play or score a goal from an offside position.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because that goal will be disallowed.
Yeah.
So it speaks to the process of scoring the goal. BBI's process is what is in question. The content we can
And the
debate.
process should be important as the product.
Exactly. And you see, another metaphor, if I am an advocate of the High Court and I practice for 2 years without the practicing certificate, or maybe I never even went to class, right? And then that is discovered at the end of 2 years. Every case I have touched is subject for review. That means that no matter whether I got an acquittal that was correct, a conviction that was correct, every case is subject to review. And that is the problem that BBI is facing now. The process has been put under question.
Dave,
Yes.
as a strong, staunch supporter of the document,
Yes.
do you see the document sailing through the Court of Appeal?
I want to say, as just to what my party leader says, that nobody can stop reggae. We all know that.
Reggae has stopped.
We all know that BBI came in when there was a strong handshake between the president and the prime minister, and there were 9-point agenda
Exactly.
that was to be dealt with:
Yes, sir.
ethnicity, national ethos, and all that and all that. So when two great leaders comes together and they do handshake before everybody, and the whole nation came to peace, and everybody's enjoying the handshake. Personally, I enjoy the handshake because there used to be a lot of tear gas.
Tear gas.
Today, if there will not be handshake,
Every Tuesday.
there will be a tear gas, I'm sure. But now, this is a situation whereby two great leaders of a nation came together and they say, let us forget about all that we have said about each other and come together and do handshake. So after handshake, they decided that now let's create what is called Building Bridges Initiative, right? Whereby, even if I don't capture any position, as Raila puts it, but I'll leave a more united Kenya. And that is the main theme of BBI. So BBI is a very good document because it is something like the president says it, that we are in a constitutional moment.
Yeah.
And even if you look at these big democracies like US, UK, they didn't just wake up and say that the document that we formed or the one that we have is the right one. It is a process. Constitutional making or review is a process, right? So when citizens of a nation says that we want a document that will favor every mwananchi, right? A document that will favor Wanjiku. So I disagree with the judges who said that it's null and void, because those who are in the process of constitutional making, everybody, there was signature collection each and every county. They walked to each and every county and they collected views.
There was signature collection.
Yes.
And you guys collected 1 million signatures?
Signatures.
As an individual, did you sign the document?
Personally, I signed the document. And I made sure that my constituent where I come from, everybody, a number of people who could reach out, signed the document and their signatures were collected. So you can't just come out and say that 1 million or 4 million who collected signatures and they are null and void.
Yeah, true.
Jeff Kuria?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
No.
You did not?
I have taken issue. As I've said, the process, first of all, is wrong. What you're saying is so true. You understand? we should not be subject to constitutional rigidity.
Yes.
There should be amendments to the constitution, but what we are doing right now is an overhaul of the constitution. And let me tell you, once the BBI is facing these challenges it's facing, there is an issue of timelines first, and then second is going to come to the realization that most of the things in the proposal there can be done in parliament. And let me give you an example. In 2013, when Johnson Sakaja was a nominated MP, he pushed the AGBO proposal in parliament to allow us to get 30% of allocations, tender allocations within government procurement allocations within the county. You understand? That was something that if was happening now would have been smothered in the BBI. And then secondly, those jurisdictions you've mentioned, they make amendments. They see this part of the constitution is not good. You see, like in when Moi removed the 2A, Section 2A, that was an amendment.
Yeah.
He removed it. You understand?
Yeah.
That was an amendment to the democracy of this nation. Even BBI can be an amendment. We don't have to overhaul. Because I agree, BBI helped calm political temperatures. It helped reduce the tensions in this country.
And today you can move in the country freely?
Freely, yes. And
because of the handshake?
Yeah, let me speak to that. Yeah? It started properly. Two leaders on different sides or adversarying sides.
Two popular leaders?
Popular leaders. They come together, they calm down the nation. We can move forward with agendas. But you see, once you have decided that these are the 9 ailing points, look for a legal way. A constitution within the constitution, not amend the constitution outside the constitution. The procedure of amendment is within the constitution. You understand?
It seems you have something to...
Yes, please respond.
I think, they thought of a good idea of bringing everybody on board,
Yes.
collecting their views. And now after collecting their views, that is the document that we have right now.
Yes.
Because they travel to all the 47 counties of Kenya, right? They travel to all 47 county assemblies of Kenya, because everybody's views was to be on the board. They did not want to come as lawyers or as leaders on behalf of Kenyans, or two people, or three, or now like President Kenyatta and Prime Minister Odinga. They wanted everybody's views to count. So that's why they had to collect signature, as I think as a lawyer, you know that is a requirement as far as that is concerned. So they had to collect signatures. They had to go back to the Wananchi, Wanjiku, and to be asked, where does the shoes hurt?
Yes.
And how should it be done? And those are some of the things that were captured.
So, to cut you short, Mheshimiwa, you are a youth leader, actually national youth leader. What are the proposals you gave on behalf of the youth? Did you give any proposal on behalf of the youth?
Yes, I did. I think this was in KICC when the chairman was there. The late Yusuf Haji. Adam Solo, I think is the secretary, the joint secretariat. Joint secretariat, and a lawyer, Paul Mwangi. We came from the university and we presented our ideas to them, and it is all over. Personally, as a young person, I talked about empowering young people, and then I also proposed on a way. Let me first talk about youth empowerment. Then I talk about the winner takes it all.
Okay.
About I think that is exactly.
I would love to hear you.
So youth, on a youth empowerment side, we did speak to it is called BBI task force.
Task force.
Yes, and we talked to them about empowering young people, and the empowerment of young people. I think there are institutions, just as you said, that deals with empowering young people. The Ways of Fund, the National Youth Council. And so forth.
Yeah.
To date, even if you walk to a National Youth Council office with your problems, they won't really take you serious. But if we empower these institutions, if these institutions are empowered, whereby there's a song in Kenya that you walk to a Wesley office and you get some money and you start a business. But it has not been easy because there are a lot of bureaucracies, right? So if these bureaucracies are dealt with, a young person like me can simply walk to a Wesley office. A young person like me can simply walk to a National Youth Council office and present my problems, right? And if people they are not bureaucratic as it is, I think my problems will be solved out.
Okay.
Right? Now, when we come to, because that is youth empowerment. Youth empowerment, it's a topic that deals with a lot of things. But those are some of the things that we presented with my fellows from the University of Nairobi. Okay. Now, when we come to the winner takes it all, we did, personally, I presented to them this one. I told them that if we can, because the biggest problem that we have in Kenya to date is the winner takes it all. The winner takes it all. If you can come up with a mechanism whereby the loser does not feel that he has lost it all, and the winner does not feel that now that you have lost it all, go home and now kule kwa macho, just as the president used to say it. You go home na kula kwa macho. If you can come up with a mechanism whereby even the loser can be accommodated, right, in the government, and we like now in Kenya, the president can garner about 5 million votes, right? And the loser goes with let's say 4 million votes. 4 million votes. Now, the loser with these 4 million, wanaenda kukula kwa macho. So you cannot ignore a loser with these 4 million.
4 million votes.
That's a chaotic country.
This is a person who commands
4 million
citizens.
Electorates.
So this person
should
not be ignored.
Should not be ignored.
He needs to be brought on the table.
Yes.
To get something.
Yes.
That's why we came up with the idea of tukule keki pamoja.
Yes.
The national cake.
The national cake. Yes.
Wakili.
You see, he's put it in a very funny way, kula kwa macho. But let me just speak it to this. You see, now that is an indirect admission that BBI does not exactly solve that. Because, let me give you the structure.
Okay.
The president, this is one of the issues. You asked me if I signed the document. They told us to read. We read. I understood it and I took issue with things there. One of the things I said, because as much as we are championing for youth empowerment and youth involvement, being a youthful person in the society is a temporary stage. You will only be there for a period of about 15 years once you turn 18. Those are 3 election cycles only. So you have to also think forward. You're not going to be youthful forever. So if you remain silent, your silence is what will condemn you. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The imperialism of the president. Right? He gets to pick his running mate. He gets to pick the prime minister and both his deputies. He gets to appoint cabinet secretaries or cabinet ministers without the vetting of parliament. So what you're going to do, especially with this cabinet vetting, or lack of it thereof, is you're going to create a situation where the president awards tokenism as opposed to meritocracy.
Okay.
Utapata mtu that he is a lawyer but he is working in the health center or in the health ministry. You understand? Okay. That is a problem. And let me tell you something also about the imperialism. It is so easy to let it go when the government of the day, you don't find it appealing. It's not your favorite. But it will be a sad day. Because personally for me, I am hoping and I am praying and I am saving my vote that William Samoei Ruto becomes president, the 5th president of this nation. But it will be a sad day in Kenya if I have to call him out for imperialism that has been allowed in the constitution. If I have to tell him that what you're doing is unconstitutional even though the constitution allows it. That is why I took issue with the document. Because once we move away from centralizing power from a president, it is easy right now for you to say this government, we don't care because I don't like it. What happens when your choice candidate is in power and is acting like an imperial president? What do you do then?
You've just mentioned something to do with the deputy president.
Yes.
That you pray and you'll save your vote to see the deputy president becomes the president.
Yes.
That is come 2022.
Yes.
But your party leader too, Mheshimiwa Mwangi kiunjuri, appears to be interested in the same seat. Are you trying to say that he is not going to run for president?
I can confirm that he will not run for presidency. And I can tell you for sure that every idea has its custodian or its birth point. The birth point of the agenda and the idea of the Service Party lies with Mwangi Kiunjuri. But our party is a democratic party. It is a party ya watu wamejiamini. So kama yeye amejiamini anataka kuendea kiti, hata yeye anaweza kuja tujiamini pamoja. You understand? But let me answer your question. He's not going to run for president, but the constitution allows him to do so.
Okay.
It is in the constitution. You're 35 and above. You are of sane mind. You are capable. You have the right following. You can run for it.
Yes. Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
The former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the Enigma, Jacom,
The Baba.
Baba. Is he going to run for president?
As far as I'm concerned, so far, he has not declared his candidature. Because he did say that even if I don't become the president of Kenya, but when I leave Kenya, a more united nation, a nation that everybody feels that he belongs and he has a sense of belonging to his country, I can confirm that let's first deal with BBI. Then,
So it was that. Haujui kama
So let's deal with the BI.
let's first run for BBI.
Yes.
Because even if he doesn't run for presidency, or even if he doesn't run for even if he doesn't run for presidency, or even if he doesn't become the next president of Kenya or the 5th president of Kenya, but when he leaves a country that is a more united, when he leaves a country that the policies that he has fought for, when he leaves a country that the policies that he will fight for are implemented in such a way that the next president of Kenya has not
Will not have difficult times.
will not have difficult
We'll
times
have a conducive environment to run the
to run the
government.
country. He's just good to go.
Okay.
Yes. But personally, I would love to see him in the top seat. Even if BBI passes, he's the person who can implement everything that is in BBI.
So
I would love to see him the next president of Kenya.
So, Mheshimiwa, as a staunch supporter of the document, and now the document is in the Court of Appeal, what do you have in store if it fails to go through? Into that camera?
I don't see BBI failing. I just don't see BBI.
Do you have an alternative? If it fails?
It will not fail. I don't want to talk it failure, but I will talk of its success.
We'll be shocked. What?
It will not fail.
Wakili,
Yes.
what if it fails? Into that camera?
Let me just say this. Its failure rate for me, as where I sit from even a legal perspective and my legal eyes, I think it's going to stop where it has. It has run its course.
So up to that point,
Hapo
full stop meekwa.
Hapo imeekwa. Sasa now you need to understand, like I've said, once it stops, now parliamentarians will realize we can do most of these proposals which are good in parliament. And I hope na kuombea sana ushike kiti. Because ukishika kiti, we will have to hold you to account, because this whole budget thing has been discussed by your parliamentarians. They are the ones you should hold to account. They discuss these proposals, they talk about them, they allocate funds, so they know they are the first. You cannot gamble with your MP. That is my message to Kenya.
Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
youth and politics 2022. We've seen lots of youths declaring interest ranging from MCA, MP, senatorial seats. What should you expect? Are we going to have a parliament of young leaders? Is there probability? From where you sit, what do you see?
Yes, as they say that my brother did say that when you are still a youth, okay, you will not be a youth forever, or you will not be a young person forever.
Exactly.
So I want to urge young people. I'm still a youth. I'm still a young person, very vibrant and very promising as far as leadership of this country is concerned. In fact, when I become the president of Kenya in the coming years, I think it will not be bad, right? But I want to urge young people.
So we are actually talking to the hopeful president
Of course.
in the coming years.
And his challenger in the future. How do you know?
So young people. First of all, we must. You must not go to this position because you are young.
True.
You know, a lot of young people, they go to these positions. The only thing that they can offer is because of my age. I'm young. No.
Apart from age, they have nothing.
Apart from age, and some of them brag because they are graduates. Never. It is what you can do to your people that should be the drive.
Yes.
Like for me, I believe in transformative leadership. I want to transform Suna West constituency in terms of infrastructure, in terms of empowerment, youth empowerment, youth and women empowerment, in terms of general leadership of Suna West constituency. So, as a young person, when you come out to be a leader, do not only sell your age that I'm young, elect me. Never. You must first convince your people beyond any reasonable doubt that you are capable.
Okay.
Yeah. And the capability of a young person first, like now they say, if you have to run for an MCA, you must hold a degree. I do agree with that. Because when you go to the county assembly, like just the other day when BBI was being passed in Migori County Assembly, some of the MCAs there, I was very much surprised.
What did they do?
Some of them could not express themselves in a way that is pleasing.
Yeah. let me just
hold it there. Remember, Migori County is watching, Suna West is watching,
yes,
and your member of parliament hopefully saying
your leaders are to be held to question. Let me say this. I agree with him. You know, political sides don't mean I cannot agree with his idea. I think he has pointed out a very important thing. You cannot offer your youthfulness only. So, what happens when, if, for example, a youthful member of society at 32 years runs for a parliamentarian seat, what will he campaign on the next general election? You have now exhausted your youth. You are an immediate former youth. Now, allow me to finish this point. Yeah? In the same breath that we cannot offer only youthfulness into leadership, we should not also be castigated for our youthful positions and youthful nature. You see, when a youth member who is in leadership makes a mistake, they are held under a big microscope, a much more scrutinized one because of their youthful nature. You should also allow youth to make the mistakes that anybody else can make, but correct them in that same light. We should allow us to don't judge us too harshly for just being youthful. And
Just to cut you short. Your boss.
Yes.
Mwangi kiunjuri.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa. Party leader
mwenyewe.
Service party.
The service party. Tunajiamini.
Will he deputize the deputy president if he goes for presidency?
Yeah. Okay. Let me say this. This is a question that has been asked over and over again.
Because I'm asking this because of late we've seen your party supporting UDA candidates.
Yes.
And you guys have not been appearing in the by-elections.
Yes, I will. I think.
Does it mean that you guys are planning something come 2022?
You see, I'll answer your question in a three-pronged approach.
Okay.
First of
Briefly?
all, our party is a service-oriented party. Our party leader believes in meritocracy. Are you capable? Do the job. Are you able to do it? Do it. On the question of him being on our relationship, first of all, with other parties.
To be specific, UDA.
First of all, let me answer this. TSP is an independent party with independent values and independent interests. But where our interests join with other parties, we associate. So our interests that we have seen UDA field a candidate and we offer them support. We offer them encouragement. It is not an issue of whether we will merge. It is an issue of do our interests align at that point in time.
Okay.
They do align, so we support your candidate. And the by-elections, let me tell you, by-elections depend on, in my personal view, depend on the timing of the by-election. 1 year to the general election, the by-election becomes less about administrative governance and more about bragging rights. You have sure. You have seen even in your party how forceful the government has become where there is by-elections, wanting to retain some seats, wanting to tear gas members from other parties. It is because the government of incumbency does not want to seem like they are losing ground.
Okay.
It becomes an issue of bragging rights, less an issue of administrative governance. And to answer your final question about whether he will deputize Mwangi Kiunjuri, Deputy President Ruto, that is, again, he is capable. He is a leader in this country who has come from different governments. He has served under 2 different presidents. He has served 2 different ministries under this government. So his experience is vast. So I am not saying yes or no. I am saying he is capable. And that is why tunajipanga, because when William Samoei Ruto picks his deputy, he will not pick his deputy because we are friends. He'll pick his deputy because the deputy is capable. He has following. He has
something to offer.
He has something to offer. So he can be deputy president. He is capable. I hope to God that he becomes deputy president.
So as the youth leader of the party and a lawyer also,
yes,
an insider, will he deputize the deputy president 2022?
I think that question I've already answered. He is capable and he will atajipanga.
Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
of late you've been seen, your party has been seen working close hand in hand with the Jubilee Party. Is there something cooking? Should we expect a merger? Or should we expect a grand coalition coming out? Briefly?
As I told you before, that my party headed by Raila Odinga and Jubilee's party headed by President Kenyatta, they are coming together through handshake meant a lot for this country as far as stability of this country is concerned. So to date, we cannot talk about any merger, but what we can talk about majorly is the handshake and coming together to make sure that the constitutional process through BBI is passed. So it is too early to talk about any merger.
So we should not expect anything like that.
Okay, in politics anything can happen. If I see President Kenyatta says Raila Tosha, that will be my best day in life. If I see President
Do you think it will happen?
Probably it will, because Raila has all his texts. He has been a prime minister. He has served this nation in different capacities, and he has all it takes to be the next president of Kenya. So when I see President Kenyatta says that Raila Tosha, and he will give his support. If he talks of his own support, even not from Mount Kenya support, that will be.
You are okay with it?
I'll just.
You will be the happiest man.
I will be the happiest man in Kenya when presidents like in 2002. Raila did declare
Kibaki
Tosha. So when I see President Kenyatta says Raila Tosha, it automatically will have it. But even if he doesn't say Raila Tosha, and Raila chooses or decides to run for presidency in 2022, still will capture the position.
Cocksure?
I am sure. I'm sure about that.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Chebukati. I believe Chebukati will be the IBC. I believe Chebukati will be the IBC chairman.
Wakili Jeff Kuria.
Yes.
On that camera,
Yeah.
Your final word.
The final word, as we've talked about many things, I'd like to say that as youthful members, you should also recognize the temporary nature of your youthful state. So you should very much seek to be involved past your youthful nature. That is one. Two, we are asking people as the service party, kama umejiamini, kuja, visit our website, look at it, join the party, run, declare your interest. We will support you because tunataka watu wamejiamini, and our party is all about service.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa?
Yes.
Like I said earlier on, Migori is watching. Suna West, to be specific, is watching. What do you have for the youths of this country, people of Migori, and your electorate in Suna West as far as 2023 is concerned?
Thank you so much, Brother Ken. First of all, I want to talk about the youths. Let us come out and vie for these positions. If you feel that you want to go for MCA, do not just sell your age, but sell the ideas and the good agendas that you have for your people. If you feel that you want to go for a member of parliament position, go there and don't sell your age. If you are a youth, go there and convince them. Do something on the ground. Empower young people. Talk to them about women empowerment. Talk to them about the infrastructure and give them your agenda on how you want to do that. Talk to them about health. Talk to them about security, because that is under the docket of a member of parliament. Do not just go there and say that I am a young person, I am vibrant, I can do this very fast. No, come out as a strong person and sell to them, and do not just sell to them, demonstrate to them that you can do it beyond any reasonable doubt. When we come to BBI, BBI is a very good document. This is a document that will make sure that 35% of the national revenue goes back to the county government, and out of that 5% will go back to the grassroots, that is to the members of the county assembly. So God willing, in the next year, that is 2022, we'll have a ward development fund. That is so good. This is a document that will make sure that there is will solve the winner takes all through expanding of the executive and all that. When we come when we come to what we were talking about, that is the national unity coming together. This is the time that we must be more united than any than ever, because we are moving to an election that is 2022. As Kenyans, let us come out and say no to violence. This is the time that we must shun violence, and we must come together and say no to violence, because you have seen in the past years how the country is going to violence, country going into flames. That is costing us our economy. So what I can say to fellow Kenyans is that let us come together and pray for our nation, because we don't have any other nation. We only have Kenya. If we destroy Kenya, you destroy yourself. If you destroy Kenya, if you ban Kenya, you are banning your own economy. If you ban roads, if you do anything, if you destroy anything, you are destroying your own things, because you can't go to Tanzania or Uganda or Rwanda to destroy that. When you do that, you do it to yourself. So let us come together as young leaders. Let us come together as national leaders. He is now supporting Ruto. I'm supporting Raila for presidency. But we are here as brothers and sisters. Yes. That is the Kenya that we want today. That is the Kenya that we dream of today.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. From wherever you're watching us, we've been live from the Cooperative Retreat and Conference Center. It has been a great show. On the bench, we had Jeff Kuria, Wakili, and youth leader from the Service Party of Kenya, led by Mwangi kiunjuri Mheshimiwa. On my left side, we had Mheshimiwa Dave Odhiambo, the incoming Suna West constituency ODM youth leader, and also Migori youth leader. It has been a great show. Join us in the next show as we proceed. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, share, and lastly, remember to ring the bell for more uploads. I was your host, Ken Babu.